Hi to all the lovely people. You all are once again most welcome to Tutorials Point. Well, in our day-to-day language, there definitely are situations or there definitely are certain words and phrases which we use and we do not realize the sort of impact which they create on the person with whom we associate them to. Well, in this video precisely, we are going to discuss about three very commonly used words, but these words apparently don't have a very positive impact. So next time you happen to use them, you might want to use a different alternative, or you might want to use a word which sort of has a similar meaning but doesn't have a very negative sort of an impact or doesn't have a negative connotation. So let's go ahead and see what are these common words which you may have used and you've not even realized that they have a negative connotation. Okay, well, the first one is skinny. Well, of course, we definitely get to use this. We definitely use this word with our friends, our colleagues, or people around. And what we mean to say is that the person who is skinny is very thin and lean, isn't it? But skinny per se doesn't have a very positive impact. Definitely we have skinny jeans, which means those jeans which are absolutely tight fitting or which are sort of hugging, they are body hugging sort of jeans. Yes, that is definitely not, it doesn't have a negative connotation. But when you use skinny or you associate this word with any person, it doesn't have the most, or it doesn't just convey that the person is very thin, but it sort of conveys that the person is actually weak, right? So person who is very weak, or a person who sort of is lean, and along with that is also physically very weak. So such a person is actually called as skinny. So it might as well not have a very positive impact, or it might as well hurt the sentiments of the person with whom you are associating this word. So you might want to be careful next time whenever you end up using this. So there's no way you can lift weights 3 times a week. You are so skinny. So what you mean to say is that you're so thin and weak in not the most positive way, which is why you can't do this. So it doesn't convey a very good message, or it may come across as, it may offend the person whom you are talking to. So you might want to be careful before you use this word. Or for that matter, I don't want to go long distance running, I'm afraid I'll get too skinny, which means that very thin and weak and frail. So again, if you feel that it might offend the person whom you are talking to, you might want to avoid this word. Well, definitely if you want to convey the same message as thin and lean, these are certain alternatives which you can use. For example, you can use thin, you can use slender, or for that matter lean or svelte. So all these words also mean the same, but they do not have a negative connotation. So if you want to be absolutely politically correct and you don't want to come across as a person who is who is trying to offend anybody, well, you might want to replace them with these alternatives, and again they convey the same meaning. So instead of skinny, it definitely is a great idea to use thin, slender, lean, or svelte. These are better alternatives instead of skinny. Well, just like skinny, there are certain other words which also do not portray or do not have a very positive meaning. So just like skinny, there's scrawny, lanky, or gangly, or bony. These words again also indicate a person who is very thin, but in an awkward manner, right? So again, they, along with thin, they also convey a sort of a negative emotion or a negative meaning. So if you don't want to sound negative, or if you don't want to offend the person, well, you might want to avoid these words. But yes, if you choose to offend, well, then you are free to use them. But if you want to be politically correct and you do not want to come across as a person who is trying to offend anybody, well, then use these alternatives. Okay. Next word, which again sometimes is perceived not in the most positive light, is foreigner. So definitely, again, there are certain people who take offense with this word because it kind of makes them feel that you do not belong here. You are an outsider. You're not a part of this place, or that organization or that school. So it again doesn't throw or it doesn't have the most positive sort of a meaning. So instead of foreigner, there are certain alternatives which you can use. Well, people from other countries, or for that matter immigrants or expats, or for that matter exchange students, international students, or tourists. So again, foreigner will might, or not always, but foreigner might come across as offending for few people. And if you don't want to come across like that, well, you can use these alternatives, because these do not have as these are certain light words which you can use instead of foreigner, and definitely they will not have a negative impact or a negative meaning associated with them. So well, here are your alternatives to use. Last but not the least is strange. Well, again, this is a very commonly used word, and most of the times, or I'll say more often than not, strange is not associated with doesn't have a very positive meaning, right? So strange has a negative connotation, particularly when we are talking about people, right? So if you are associating this word with any person, definitely it will not be perceived as something that is positive. So if you actually refer to the Collins dictionary, the meaning exactly the words which are used are something that is unusual or unexpected and makes you feel slightly nervous or afraid. So something which is different, unusual in not a very positive manner, right? So strange is not a very strange doesn't indicate a very positive, different in a positive manner. It is something that is unusual, unexpected, and doesn't give you a very good feeling. So if you want to avoid associating this word with anybody, well, you definitely are free to. And for sure, if you're associating this word with any person, definitely it might not be perceived in the best way possible. So you have alternatives instead of strange. What you can use is different or unique. So different and unique have a more positive connotation compared to strange, which is unusual and something that gives you an uneasy feeling. So well, now that you're exactly clear and aware of the difference, well, you can use it according to the situation, so that you do not come across or you're not perceived as a person who is trying to offend anybody. Well, I'm sure even though these are three words, but I'm sure they are definitely going to help you a lot improvise your language, because though they are just three in number, but definitely they are very commonly used in a day-to-day language. And I'm sure now that you know better alternatives, definitely you can improvise your language. Well, I will see you again in the next video. Till that time, keep learning with tutorials point and tutorics. Have a good day.